Hello, my name is John Boring, and I want to welcome you to Accelerate's production of the Delegation Matrix Made Easy. Imagine for just a minute you have a short-term project and you think it would be challenging and fun. However, you know that whether it's challenging and fun is in the eyes of the person who's doing the work. So you want to make sure to pick the right person for this assignment. Someone with just the right level of skill and experience and just the right level of motivation to take on this project. When you look at your team, you see a few people who could lead such a project. But as it so often happens in real life, for different reasons, not one of them is the perfect or ideal candidate. So now the question becomes, what type of a coaching challenge are you willing to take on? It's just for this type of situation that Accelerate created the delegation matrix. A major advantage of effective delegation is that it combines everyday work with opportunities for coaching and professional development. And the delegation matrix helps with this. Selecting the right person has always been at the intersection of skill and motivation to get the job done, and your project's no different. Since nobody's perfect, the real question is, what kind of coaching challenge are you willing to take on with this? And this is where the delegation matrix helps. Well, first we looked at skills and experience. When we looked at these, obviously we saw a range of limited experience all the way up to being an expert. Now for the sake of organizing things, we separated these into 4 levels. And this became our Y, or the vertical axis on our matrix. To further define these, we started with the expert level, as someone who is most likely the company expert in a given area with advanced skills in a specific tasks. As an expert, this bar is pretty high. The next level of skill or experience we call being fully competent. And we define this as someone who produces mature and predictable results on a consistent basis. These folks take an approach to problem solving and creating solutions that others can pick up and follow. The next level we call some knowledge. With this level of skill, they're likely to have some knowledge or experience with this task. With a little more time and experience, a person in this level can often grow very quickly. And lastly, we have the category of little or no knowledge. A person at this level has limited knowledge and very little experience with specific tasks in the area. One piece of advice that can be helpful in discussing a person's skill level is to remember that this is not a performance review. This conversation can quickly start to feel like one if you're not careful. Remind them that this is just your assessment of their skill in one very specific task, not their overall performance. For example, a successful approach would be to talk about the difference between having some knowledge and being fully competent with respect to the requirements for this particular project or assignment. Now let's consider your candidate's motivation to take on this project based on their level of interest and how they feel about doing the work. Again, separating this range of feelings into 4 groups helps us to identify a continuum. At one end was a person who absolutely loves working on this type of a project, and at the other end was a person, who very much dislikes it. This became the X or horizontal axis for a matrix. When this is a strength of someone, there is little difference between a person who likes or loves doing a particular type of an assignment. You can tell because they're excited about the work, it fulfills them, they look forward to coming to work every day. This next category on the scale, though, we call tolerate. A person in this category will put up with doing this type of work for a while. But for some reason, they're just not particularly excited about it. You're going to have to spend a lot of time coaxing and managing this person. And finally, we have a category called dislike. This is where a person will avoid doing this type of work for any number of reasons. Not always overtly, but this will almost always be work that gets put off till the end of the day. So with this understanding of the X and Y axes, let's start filling in our matrix. In the upper right-hand corner of the matrix, you have a person where this assignment is a particular strength of theirs. Do you have any candidates who fall into this category? If so, you've got an easy decision. If you find yourself in this fortunate situation, here are a few coaching tips you might find useful. Discuss with them the amount of supervision they want or expect from you. Given their level of experience, your goal should probably be to provide as little supervision as you can. You could consider providing some advanced training in an area of interest. It could be time to look at an increase in challenge or scope of responsibilities. Above all else, don't let them get bored. You'll lose them if you do. Next, you have a situation where you have a person with a lot of potential who thinks they would like and enjoy this type of work. They just don't have a lot of experience or exposure yet. This is a classic learning opportunity. If you find yourself in this situation, here are a few more coaching tips, especially if they're a little bit more experienced. You can gradually increase the challenge of this assignment by raising its importance and visibility. Provide targeted, very specific training that's tied to this role. You can offer your personal mentoring. If they're not quite as experienced, well, here you can provide closer support and supervision, provide training on the basics of this assignment, even allow for on-the-job training, and make sure to follow up with small increases in responsibility. However, if you have a person with potential and experience, but they don't particularly enjoy this type of work, they might be willing, but not really interested. We call this category keep it to a minimum. Be careful. If they lack expertise with this type of work and they're unmotivated, they could wind up in what we call the danger zone down near the bottom of this area. And this is where you're going to want to provide close support and guidance. Remember, a little knowledge can be dangerous, especially if someone's not motivated. If you find yourself in this type of situation, here are a few coaching tips to consider. Discuss what's in it for them and ensure them it's only for the short term. Provide supportive training and assistance where it's needed, and where it's possible, offload routine or tedious work to others, especially if this is the reason why they're not interested in the first place. One of your first challenges with this person will be to understand why they're not interested in this assignment, especially since they appear to have the skills and experience to be successful. There just has to be a reason. One of the most challenging categories we call last resort, because this person has demonstrated the skills and experience to be successful with this assignment, yet they're just not interested. You may not even be able to sell them on the reasons why it's a good idea either. However, there are a few coaching tips if you have no other choice, as the category name, the last resort, implies. If you find yourself in this type of situation, try this. Ensure them that this is not going to be an ongoing role. Obtain and protect any resources they're going to require. This might include people, time, support, budget, those type of things. Discuss what's in it for them. This will have to be specific to the situation and the individual for it to be very effective. Make sure this assignment has organizational importance and visibility. And if you must assign this task to this individual, impress upon them the importance of the task to the organization and the reasons why they're being asked to do this. The last category we call avoid. Now, this seems obvious, but if you have a candidate who is neither skilled or motivated at the task required, you should avoid giving it to them. It's possible that you're going to spend more time on close supervision, management, and rework than it's likely to be worth. Well, that takes us through the delegation matrix. I hope you're able to pick up some tips that you can use when delegating to others. Download the infographic and keep this model in front of you the next time you need to delegate something. Think about what type of coaching challenge you're willing to take on. Because the manager who can effectively delegate is giving the most long-lasting gift they can give. And that's the gift of yourself in pursuit of their professional growth. If you want to know more about Accelerate or the delegation matrix, well, this is how you find us. If you have feedback for me or just a boring joke to share, well, that's my email. Until next time.